right, Capital Outlay Committee meeting called to order for Thursday, April 15th. First item of business, item A, consider approval of low bid for Natal-Benny. Or first, I'm sorry, roll call. I got ahead of myself. It's been a while.
Ms. Richards? Mr. Toller?
Here.
Ms. Abrams? Here. Mr. Westmoreland?
Present.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Bush? Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. Simmons? Here. Ms. Dominguez?
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. So item 1A, consider approval of low bid for Natal-Benny Middle School's floor replacement and asbestos abatement project from Kelly Construction in the amount of $135,000. Mr. Schnatterbach.
Thank you, Mr. Toller. This project is a project that we tried to do last summer, but got caught up in the time frame, so we waited and we're ready to move forward with it. It's needed. Floor replacement, and there's some asbestos in the glue that needs to be removed through asbestos abatement process. We opened quotes last week, and the low vendor was from Kelly Construction, $135,000.
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion to adopt.
Second.
Second by Mr. Duncan. Questions? Do you remember what the price was last year? Because we had.
Yes, it was, we reserved $92,950 in restricted funds. I think the difference mainly, and Kevin could probably confirm, is due to the wood price,
Yeah, well, this go around though, we added
the abatement to you. We
Okay.
did add the abatement.
So it's not exactly apples for apples. Okay.
Correct. The wood price is
And
up.
construction prices. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Having none, call for the vote.
Is this?
Voting
Is
is
everybody else logged in? I'm sorry, Cindy.
open.
I'm not getting nothing but a spinning line to log in. Is anybody else logged in?
I can't log in.
I couldn't get in.
I got in.
I can't get in on my phone either.
I'm in, but not using the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm not using Wi-Fi either.
Yeah, you have to get off of Wi-Fi.
I'm gonna do a verbal vote and vote yes.
Filter is so good. it
Mr.
keeps us from doing
Westmoreland?
business.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Dominguez?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
See if you can.
Okay. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item B, consider approval for the low bid for Midway Elementary School's roof replacement project from Certified Roofing and Sheet Metal LLC in the amount of $425,756. Mr. Schnatterbach.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a project that originally had a price tag of $700,000 plus. We restricted $530,000 of restricted capital project money for it. The actual quote came in at $425,756. We're very excited about the price and look forward to replacing the roof at Midway Elementary, and the administration's recommending to approve this low bid.
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Duncan. Discussion?
This is all out of the restricted roofing fund, correct?
Correct.
Is this the school with the flat roof?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Midway.
Timeline looks good for summer project.
Well, this one won't hamper. It does look good for the summer, but we can operate school while they're finishing up on the project. But we anticipate the majority of it to be done over the summer.
Fred, I have a question. Okay, I see that we actually solicited bids from, what, 16?
Yeah, Mr. Moore, we had a conversation. Actually, I was mistaken. I followed up with the architect afterwards. The bid was advertised publicly. The names that are listed on the tabulation sheet are the companies that actually obtained a copy of the bid specs. So the architect, when they were taking bids, expected to receive a bid from these individuals, but only the 4 bid that actually quoted. So it was advertised publicly, and the companies that received the bid were the ones listed on the tabulation page that went in and actually downloaded the bid.
Okay,
Process.
right, that resolves the other question that I had, so we
Yes, sir.
can move forward, yeah.
Looks
All right.
good to see the prices that close too.
Come in.
Shows that competition's working. Any other discussion, questions, concerns?
Come on, touch.
Having none, we'll call for vote.
Voting is open.
Ms. Cindy, I vote yes.
Mr. Westmoreland, yes.
Yes for Simmons.
Yes.
Ms. Dominguez?
Trying to get.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Yes. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item C, consider approval of the low quote for Ponchatoula Junior High School's main building structural foundation repair work. Mr. Schneiderlein.
Yes, Mr. Toller, we opened those bids today at 2 o'clock. The low vendor was CDX Construction LLC in the amount of $103,000. We actually had a lower vendor who actually pulled his bid. Was significantly out of line compared to the other ones, but CDX was the low bid that wasn't pulled by the vendor, and the administration's recommending to move forward with this on this particular project.
You're here in the form of a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Motion to accept, a second by Ms. Simmons.
But do we know why they pulled out?
I think they were a little apprehensive with their low bid. I'm not sure if Kevin can elaborate a little on that maybe, or does he talk to the vendor?
We had extensive conversations with the vendor this afternoon, me and Pietario, and it seems to be that he had more questions. He had more questions than he did confidence in the job, and a lot of it may have to do with the structural floor issues and how can I say it, we have a shoring company, kind of dealing with a shoring company and such, possibly with the structural foundation. So he had more questions, and then eventually it was his decision to go ahead and pull that bid. And you can see the other bids, and so it's very possible that the other contractors may have taken some things into consideration that possibly he may not have, and it became a little overwhelming for him.
One question on the structural part of this. Is it something we're having trouble with as far as cracking foundation or sinking foundations, or?
Well, we have some water underneath, and we also, the school was renovated in 1995. And the building actually sat for 10 years when Ponchatoula High School was moved out to Highway 22 East. During that time, there was no maintenance there. And so in 1995-96, Pietario, Holly Smith renovated the building, did a very good job with it. And now we've encountered some things that have progressed underneath the first floor. There's been some moisture issues and condensation line and different things that have happened. And yet termite damage. We've taken care of the termite damage. We actually did that about a year and a half ago. We put a lot of money in taking care of the termites for all 3 floors on the entire perimeter of the building. And so it's an ongoing process, and then we also have some rot underneath. And so the termites have been tended to. The rot is in some of the structure underneath that we need to tend to. It is located on 2 sides of the building. So it's not like the Untitled floor project where we're taking out the entire floor. So we have 2 main sections on both sides on the, that would be the east and west sides of the building that we need to tend to. And so there's going to need to be a structural beam that goes in, I believe. Yeah. Beam. And so
Speak into the microphone.
Replacing a bunch of damaged floor joists. And we're also doing some remedial measures to try and make this not happen again. So we're putting a vapor barrier down on the crawl space and trying to waterproof it. So.
All right. Any other questions? No questions? Call for a vote.
Voting is open.
It's not right. It won't take any of the information.
Ms.
Yes.
Simmons? Ms. Simmons, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Westmoreland? Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Yes. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item D, consider approval of a low quote to construct decking and ramps serving Champ Cooper's Elementary School's temporary portable classrooms.
Thank you, Mr. Toller. Item D and E are really both related to Champ Cooper's temporary classrooms.
Okay.
We're
We'll pull them
moving
together?
in,
You'll pull them together?
if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay, so we're in the process of moving in 3 double trailer classrooms that would be at Champ Cooper just during the construction phase. Once our construction phase is done on that campus, these buildings will be removed. But keep in mind, it will be phase 1 and phase 2 construction while it's there. So we've already in the process of getting the buildings. We need to develop decking ramps and canopy around them. We took quotes, and the low quote for the ramping was from D&H Construction in the amount of $43,500. We opened that quote today at 10. And then the low quote for the canopy came from North Shore Gutter LLC in the amount of $30,925, and we opened that last week.
Look at 43,500 for D.
It's $43,500 for D and $30,925 for E.
Okay. Do I hear that in the form of a motion for D and E?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion, second by...
Second. Either one.
Robin, okay. We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Question.
All right, Mr. Duncan?
Mr. Snottabout, where are the classrooms coming from? Are these going to be some existing ones that we already have?
No, we attempted to do that, move existing buildings, but that wasn't permissible. We found that we were currently using the buildings that we were originally intending to move. These are going to be trailers that we're going to go ahead and lease from a local vendor.
And so how many years are we expecting that we'll use these?
Well, the construction on the phase 1 is going to be a 2-year, 18-month project. Phase 2, I'm not sure exactly how long that one's going to be. At this particular time, I would anticipate no more than 3 to 4 years.
After phase 1, so we're looking at having to use these for...
About 6 years, 5 to 6 years, yes, sir.
And so we're going to lease these for that period of time? Is that what
Correct.
we're doing? Okay. And y'all haven't put that package together for us to consider yet?
Well, the lease was going to be in the operating budget.
Okay.
That lease, is it a minimum or a maximum? Like, is there, if we decide to do it in 2 years and get rid of them,
Yes.
there's no minimum?
There's no. It's a year-by-year
Month?
lease.
A year by year?
Correct.
And this is going to add how many classrooms?
6. In the first wing, we'll add 10. Correct. Right now, the enrollment numbers are over 900, and we have 3 classrooms in the library. So we'll fill the 6 classrooms in year 1. The principal plans to move 7th and 8th grade into these classrooms.
I'm trying to understand this diagram that I'm looking at. So
It's a U-shaped. It's going to be on the east side of the building. It'll butt up between the building and the baseball field. And we had to take a tree out, remove a tree, and at the same time, we may end up have to move, I think, a dugout. Is that correct, Kevin?
Yeah, there's a dugout and a fence that we have to move, and we already cut 3 trees, and so we can piece it together for preparation for it.
so it's a U shape and it'll have like a little courtyard in the middle or so, like an
Well, it'll be a
open?
grassy area in the middle that if it's not raining like this, may be usable.
Okay.
But there is some concrete that's being poured that will extend the sidewalk to the ramp, to the decking, and then the decking up to the level of the buildings.
And we're having to put it in this specific spot so that it's not going anywhere where the new construction's planned?
Correct.
And-
In addition to accommodate draining issues that are out there.
So on here where it's saying that there's this gravel road, is that
That's the existing road that goes behind the school today.
behind the school?
Correct, on the east side.
So if you turn in, Mr. Duncan, if you turn in by, on
gym.
the east side of the cafeteria, where the carpool line is now, there's a road that's been there forever. It goes behind the building and it wraps around to the very first building on the west side.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave that open because it's used all the time, and it's, especially when there's a function at the campus, all the teachers park in the back, so that opens the parking lot. And then like today, when I went by there to look to see where this was all exactly staked out now, there were cars back there today because it was easier to get to their classroom this morning, of course. But it's not ideal, but it's taking up half of a softball, baseball play area, but there's really nowhere else to put it. It's right exactly behind the existing 7th and 8th grade wing right now.
So you won't really be able to see it from the road?
No, you won't be able to see it at all. From the Highway 445, no.
Okay.
But he said we have 920 some odd kids right now at Champ Cooper. And we're gonna fill it up immediately. and then it's gonna take 2 years to build. My anticipation is it's gonna be full and the new wing is gonna be full before the next new wing gets built. So I'm not sure how long before we'll actually be able to move it with the growth that's going out there. I mean, y'all know you've
Be
been
there a
there.
while.
It's gonna be a necessity for a while. Because there are so many houses, and every day when I pass on Highway 22 and 445, I just cannot believe the amount of houses that are going up. It's unbelievable.
At the top of that, you understand it's elevated around in front of the classrooms, the deck. Connecting the two sides, is that elevated as well?
Yes. And
Question.
and there's one ramp that's going to serve both sides decking.
How does a lawnmower get in there?
I don't know, how is the lawnmower getting in there?
That's a lot of weed eating.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of weed, like Brent said. And there's always other ways to handle it, simple push or something like that.
You need to talk in the microphone, please.
We may have to get a go.
I was just wondering, because we're blocking ourselves off. A lot of square feet.
We had to do the ADA decking, and Holly Smith did a very good job. Pierre did of putting this together. We had to meet the needs of the principal. The principal decided that that was the best place for the flow of his students, and I believe he wanted to bring his junior high students out there. And so in order to do that, of course, we had to put the raised decking. You have concrete going into the raised decking, and we were able to limit it to one ADA entrance for State Fire Marshal approval. Everything you see there is approved that Pierre Terrio did through State Fire Marshal and such. The grass cutting, obviously, we will have to weed eat. Maybe we'll have to have a small push mower or something available. But
Where that back stairs that goes down into the blue corridor, we could make another ramp right there that could be steeper, because it doesn't have to be ADA.
It's not worth reinventing the wheel over. I just,
You could get all the way.
what I think
How do you
about.
get in there, yeah.
the,
Put a crane, put a crane over.
Okay?
any other
There-
questions?
No, no.
And then the canopy also has to be raised above the road, because we have to be able to go through there with the bus or whatever.
Well, there's the main power feed.
That's
is
true,
on that
yeah,
side of the school,
yeah.
on the north side of the school. So the main reason for that service road is dealing with energy, because energy has to get to that main power feed. And so the canopy has to actually be raised to the road, and there'll be a full canopy covering that decking all the way across. And there'll be some cement where the students come out, because Mrs. Martino wanted to make sure the students didn't have to walk in the slush, of course, to get across that road. So it'll be cemented, and then from the cement, it'll go straight into the decking that you see. The canopy is actually going to be raised to like 13.5 feet for the energy truck, which is the bucket truck, to get through there to handle that service on the north side of the school, which happens periodically, as you know, with the weather that we've had.
Right.
So that's the purpose, that was the main purpose of that road in the first place. But it also does get used for parking and such.
And fire truck, the
And-
fire
and
truck.
fire as
Yeah,
well.
mhm.
So
The fire truck.
the canopy accommodates that.
Okay?
The only thing I hate that we're having to take up that area that's the only area of play for kids. So they'll just have to adapt, maybe reposition themselves somewhere. But is it far enough away? Because the road, like today, cars were parked as basically partly on the road because the ground was too wet.
It's going to reduce the parking that they've done. They've been parking on the grass in front of the dugout. They're going to lose that parking.
But
But
I'm
they can
just saying,
still
are we
park-
going to
They
keep?
can still park on the other side, but they're not going to be able to park big trucks on the other side by the school building. They'll be able to park smaller cars. So bigger trucks, they have to park out further in the parking lot. So they're going to lose the parking, though, that the way they've been parking on the grass, they're going to lose that, except for the grassy side by the school for smaller
Well, I
vehicles.
just make it stay on the radar that we keep that road up and maybe even add some, because it was pretty bad today. I mean, it's
It
kind of
does.
almost
Probably
like
needs some more
somebody's
gravel
old
and such.
driveway. It
Especially
needs
with
some
the
work.
washouts that we have. Yeah, Mr. Bracy can handle that through. And,
I just don't want to take the road
But what
with,
you were talking about, Rose, is that, Mr. Diaz, is I talked with Billy Gill and the other coaches, and they're good with it, and they'd like us to try and extend that field a little further back to accommodate for the loss. And we put the backstop up and such, when that fence comes down, because we have to
Okay.
take out the dugout and the fence.
but we do own a good bit more property behind that wasn't all the way cleared, so,
So,
I mean, if we have
they're
to.
very workable with us, and they will, and have patience, and they wanted to see, after everything's said and done, they wanted to see if they could
we could kind of get a little more, go for a little further towards the woods, which will be east, correct? Further east to try and give them a little more play area, because they do
Okay.
need that.
Okay.
But this was the overall best location from everything that transpired, because we went over it many different times.
And all this is going to be started right when school gets out?
The dirt,
Or-
we would be doing dirt work right now. The trees have already been cut and stumped around, but the weather obviously stopped us. And I was talking to Mr. Snettelbach, and once we get the dirt pads in, then I'll be able to get you a timeline, because this timeline is very critical to try and get the students in for the next school year. But I can't give you a good timeline until we get the dirt pads in. Once the dirt pads get in, then we can get with the company we're getting the leased buildings from, and then from that point, put a plan together. The good thing about the leased buildings, though, Mr. Duncan, is that the leased buildings are on hand. We're not purchasing a new building that has to be built in Georgia. These buildings are on hand. So we've already located them, and we have them in other areas waiting to be shipped. But we don't want to get them shipped in until we're ready to put them on the pad, because we don't want to do work twice.
Okay.
It'll cost more money.
These are used lease buildings, Mr. Miller.
Okay, Mr. Snugglebug, I have a question. Concerning the space between the buildings, right? Looks like about a 50 by 50 foot space between the,
I think it's 10 feet, I think the fire marshals
about a
require
50,
10 foot.
okay, so that's all according to specs?
Correct.
That's required?
We've already gone past fire marshal specs.
Okay.
And if you look at the building in the back of the U, the building in the back of the U, that's parallel to the main building, has a 10-foot space. And actually, it'll be a little more than 10 foot. I'll probably go a little bit further than that, probably 12 feet, an extra 2 feet. And that all meets fire marshal rules and regulations. Very similar to everything we did in the 2016 SAP.
Okay, any other questions? Having none, call for a vote for D and E.
Voting is open. Ms.
Yes.
Simmons? Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Westmoreland? Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item F, consider approval of the low quote to repair 2 separate walking bridges located on Ponchatoula High School's campus.
Thank you, Mr. Tuller. Again, this is one quotes we opened today at 10 o'clock. The low quote from the vendor is Bailey Construction in the amount of $12,700. And the administration is recommending to go ahead and approve this quote.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Westmoreland,
A second.
seconded by Mr. Minguez.
Question.
Questions, Mr. Duncan?
Mr. Snodderby, didn't we do a project like this recently?
We put a new culvert, and pretty much with the rain we've been having is a good thing we did. Square block culvert that serves between the gym and the ROTC building. But these are wooden bridges that are on the campus. One is behind the ag building and serves the football field. It's also part of their cross-country track course. On that bridge, we're replacing the decking on that bridge. The other bridge is on the other side of the campus, closer to the baseball field? Ridgeville Road. So, and on that one, we're doing more of a foundation footing part of that bridge. But both bridges will also have fencing added to it to give it, there's no railing on these, and it's only a 6 foot wide or 8 foot wide walking bridge. So we'll put some fencing on there to make the bridges.
But the culvert was over the same thing and created
Yes.
a different walking way, right?
Correct.
Okay, I just remember
Mr.
doing it.
Duncan, that's the main bridge.
Okay.
That was done a few years ago.
It is concrete
And,
sidewalk.
and we did it to engineering specs, and so the Tangible Parish government is actually using those specs to go ahead and tend to the water that goes through there for Ridgeville Road.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't fixing something that we
No.
just did 2 years ago. That's all. But this is a different set of bridges. Okay.
Mr.
Well,
Moore?
I'm sorry. You have-
No, I'm sorry. I thought-
No.
Go ahead.
Well, these bridges are smaller, but since the parish actually has been getting the, I guess it's what you'd call a canal, bigger, deeper, better drainage, it's made it bigger and deeper that people can't even just like walk through it. Like it's down, like it's way deep now. It used to not be as deep, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
You need the bridges across.
Oh, you have to have the bridges, yeah, you can't cross without the bridge. It's like a little mini canal.
Can lawnmower cross it?
Yeah.
This man with his lawnmower.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll call for vote. Item F.
Voting is open. Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Oh, it's a Bailey, so I might recuse. I don't know if I'm kin to this person. I know him, but I don't know. if-
Okay.
yeah.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously with Ms. Simmons abstaining.
Right, thank you. Item G, update on Kentwood High Magnet School's window replacement project.
Mr. Chairman, this is one of our Phase 1 projects, a project we were hoping to get done this summer. Some things have come up that kind of postponed it. I have the architect, Pierre, I'll turn it over to him and let him give you all an update.
Thank you, Greg. So the drawings and specs are completed. We're ready to go out to bid. However, with the current state of things, I don't know if you've heard, but there's longer and longer lead times for materials nowadays. So we're a little apprehensive about trying to start, because this project has to happen during the summer. So the plan is to wait until next year, go out to bid in probably in mid-February or so, take bids in mid-March and be ready to hit the ground running as soon as school lets out. So the idea is to get bids early in March so that we'll obtain all the materials and the contract be ready to go as soon as school lets out and we can get it done.
What is the anticipated timeline? How long would this project last?
Yeah, I think it's 60 days, I think. I mean, that's for the actual construction part. We're gonna need, I don't know, another maybe 6 weeks before that. So it'd be more, the total construction time would be more than 60 days.
Correct me if I'm wrong, well, go ahead, Mr. Richard. Go ahead. I was just thinking, not every classroom in that building is used or utilized. Is there any way, if it didn't finish by summer, if we started and if we went into August, with a little bit of work from the school administration, could we still continue work by moving classrooms
Yeah,
around?
that's a possibility. The issue is that the school is not sprinklered, so the windows serve as a, I mean, it might be hard to get them open, but they serve as a means of egress. So if for some reason we remove an existing window and they're not able to, and we have to board it up, we're actually gonna hinder that egress if the classroom needs to be occupied for whatever reason. I don't know if you have, I mean, it's basically half and half, so I don't know if half of the classrooms are not occupied, but I mean, it's something you can always use as a fallback plan, you know. But we would highly recommend you wait, just in case. The aluminum and glass are really long lead times, so.
Okay,
I mean,
so,
that's like normally a 6-week lead time in normal times. So,
We still have to go through the bid process too.
Yeah, you gotta go.
45 days and going, so we're kind of beyond the part to even start it. By the time we get approval and get contracts out, it would be into June, and then they would have the lead time on the material. It would probably come in sometime in July, and then you'd have very little time, a couple weeks to even start on the project.
right.
It's 117 windows.
Question, but if we don't want to delay for various reasons, and let's say we started in July and we had to pause it and maybe do the rest of it in December, I mean, does that cause a problem with our contractor?
Well,
Would it cost us more money to do it that way, to go ahead and get them ordered and start it when they come in?
it would depend on whether or not we have a space to store the windows that we wouldn't be using.
I mean, we got plenty of storage.
Right.
No,
now that was my question, was that could we possibly go ahead and put it out there and get the bids and get the material in? Because could it be possible we'll have this same problem next summer when we decide that we're gonna order the material?
Well, I think if we do it early enough, we won't have that problem. The other issue is, I mean, and you can never look into a crystal ball and know, but prices are really high right now. So it might be better for us to wait because of that reason. But like I said, I wish I had a crystal ball, but things are bidding high right now.
Yeah, I would be nervous. I know what Mr. Duncan's referring to. I would be nervous as a contractor, though, if committing my crew to a project that I knew I couldn't finish, to pull all my equipment off the project, scaffolding,
It's
everything.
going to cost you
to
more
come back.
because he's going to build in
Yeah.
a remobilization.
Yeah, they would do it, but it would cost us probably substantially more.
It would. So I wouldn't advise it. Just wouldn't.
Yeah, no vote on that, really.
Yeah. So no action at this moment?
But it's just an update.
Yeah, it's just an update.
So, Mr.
I'm asking the board, y'all. I mean,
Yeah,
y'all
so-
satisfied with that, or?
So what's the premise here? We're saying to put it off until a certain time when
Till
everything?
February?
Until February?
Go out and bid in February, yes, sir.
At least that gives us an answer for Ms. Richards and myself to be able to tell the community, you know.
So you're gonna put what off, the bid process until then?
That's the start of the construction. Once we do the bid, the contractor, his prices will be available for, a period of time, 45 to 60 days. We'll enter into a contract with him. He'll order the material, and then he'll start preparing them. They build these window frames, so they'll prepare and build the window frames and have them available to start construction once school ends, the 21-22 school year ends.
Okay, so the goal would be to get the bidding in, get everything ordered.
Correct.
Assign bid, award the bid, get everything ordered so you can start at the end of the school term next year?
Yes, well,
right?
actually, have the contract signed before, in March, before April, like now, have them signed in March, where he can start ordering the material, start prepping the material, so he can do on-site construction starting in May.
Okay.
It seems like we always get our backs against the wall, so starting in January wouldn't be a bad idea either.
Right, well, and that's true, it's, but
Like I
it's,
said, the plans and specs are ready. We're just going to hold them until next.
it's just like our Natalbany floor project that we tried to do last summer and couldn't get it done in time and had to wait till this summer.
Right, absolutely. Any other questions on that?
Be clear, though, the money is locked down. It can only be used for this purpose.
Yes.
We're not, right, I mean, there's,
The money's there.
right, but and it's not being diverted anywhere else.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Duncan. I have good news on the money.
Oh, good.
So, just so y'all know, we
Well,
sold-
but answer that question first. It's
The money's
locked down, it's not gonna be used for any other purpose.
Permitted,
The courts
restricted
only
for this
approved
project.
this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But I do want to hear your good news.
On Tuesday, we sold our bonds. We had a pre-bond sale meeting on Monday evening, and the underwriters projected our bonds would sell on the average over a 20-year period at 2.33%, and the actual price was 2.21%, saving $371,000 of interest over the life of the bonds. So we're very, very excited about that.
And we've got an extremely good rating as
We did.
well.
We got a AA negative rating, and it was extremely excellent, yes. And that's resulted in the lower rate. Well, AA negative is,
Double A dash.
AA minus.
the one thing we were cited on that probably prevented us from being a AA is that our general fund balance is 8%, and they would like to see it at 10%. But, that's funds available.
And I was in that meeting, and they said the only AAA is Microsoft and Johnson & Johnson. So we're doing good.
Was
Johnson & Johnson.
Anything else to be brought before capital outlay?
No, sir.
Yeah, I would like a little update on the Champ Cooper meetings. We had to postpone, and so how are we coming with any of those details?
Actually, I left the office working on it to come here, and we're just about ready to schedule a meeting, I think maybe
Okay.
next week.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go talk to Anthony first and give him a little preview, and then we'll schedule something right after.
Okay. So y'all come up with some good ideas
Yeah.
from all the comments that we all made that day?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about by the high school? Punchville High School?
Punchville High School, yeah, we're almost finished with the drawings. That one's gonna be ready to go out to bid pretty soon.
That's
It
good. Do we have,
doesn't matter whether it happens in the summer or not, so that
yeah.
one.
Are we meeting? Are we having another meeting then?
I mean, it's not much more to look at.
Okay.
It's kind of like all details and technical drawings at this
Just took the
point.
diagrams,
Yeah,
all the
it's
stuff
the
that we talked
same,
about
yeah.
that day?
Mhm.
Okay,
It's the same.
okay, that's good.
If you don't mind, Mr. Toller, I know Mr. Crevetta set up meetings for the other projects at Laranja and Hammond High, and I think he's reached out to the board members in that area. I think you'll have a May 4th meeting date, so I'm looking forward to getting those projects. The architect is almost ready with his design work too, so he's looking forward to the meeting. Thank you.
Is that the end? Can I say something? All right, Mr. Crevetta, could you kind of update us on the crosswalk in Laranja? That started about 10 years ago, I think.
On my desk, I have this many folders sitting in front of my computer.
Yeah.
So, you have a set of plans, and I have other plans if you desire to look at them, which are construction plans for the Laranja Middle School sidewalk and crossing improvements. And these plans are Spangler engineered. We dealt with the engineering company for a very long period of time, which is out-of-state company now. They no longer have a local presence. And so because of that, we had to find a local engineer to go ahead and take their plans that were approved through the Department of Transportation and Development and make them work for us. So I gave Ms. Simmons, and I have other copies if you desire them. I can get them to you. That's not a problem, that I have right here, which are the first time we've had full-fledged construction plans for the project. And so I'm going to be working with Mr. Snettelbach because we need to go over the dollar figures of what these construction plans entail. And then once we get that information, then we'll be back here to you to have more forthcoming information to actually get the ball rolling on true construction for this project. But what you have right there, what I think Mr. Duncan's looking at right now, are the actual construction plans for the project from Spangler Engineering. That's a local engineering service in Hammond and Tangipahoa Parish that has taken the things that we did with Sane Engineering, who worked with DOTD. And so the main concern of dealing with the other engineer was to bring everything through DOTD and get the DOTD approvals. And so we had all that, and then you have what's in front of you right there, which Mr. Duncan's looking at, which are concrete plans from Spangler Engineering for us as we get together with Mr. Snettelbach and we look over the dollar figures so we can provide you with more concrete information as we go forward.
So when they drive the first nail and hammer, we're going to have a huge celebration out there.
Yes.
So we'll get the people
We might
ready.
do a ribbon cutting on 1062.
Big time.
Have a nice big ribbon on 1062, especially when the students cross with their PE teacher.
This project has since, it originally started with the overhead hawk system. Now, the Department of Ed did not approve that. The Department of Transportation did not. They approved the flashing beacons. So we'll have flashing beacons that face both sides of the roads, on both sides, facing both ways. And then we have added sidewalk along Laranja Elementary's auditorium side. So it's a nice project.
Yeah.
The sidewalk that comes down, that's Magnolia Street. It comes down Magnolia Street, and then it'll be a full-fledged pedestrian crossing into the Laranja Middle School gym with its own entrance, only a pedestrian crossing.
So
it won't be mixed with the gate for the carpool traffic and everything else.
So the parking in front of the old auditorium will cease by that time, right?
Yes.
Yes, the parking in front of the old auditorium, yes, and the parking in front of the Laranja Middle School gym will cease to exist because they will have little barriers that will be put up in front of both. And that's an agreement with DOTD because that's what they requested. And also, when you bring the students down Magnolia Street and they cross Highway 1062, you want to get them into an area where they'll be protected. So they're going to go inside of the fenced area and they're going to go into the northwest corner of the gym versus what they did before, which is going to the southwest corner of the gym, which gave them undue exposure on 1062 in front of the gym. We want to get them into the northwest corner of the gym, and therefore students will not be allowed to go basically in front of the gym to the southwest corner as far as entrance and exit of classes as they take their PE classes over and they come back.
In front of the microphone.
To the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just.
All right. Any other questions on that? Ms. Dillon?
Question. When can we expect maybe a completion, or do we have a time frame? I know maybe not a date, but.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
But I don't mean to put you off on that, but I mean,
Yeah,
I'll have to get back to you once we.
We will come before y'all's next committee meeting with estimated prices and permission to go out to get bids. The bids will be 45 to 60 days. Once we have a contractor, we'll come back to the Capital Outlay Committee meeting with approval of the contractor, And I'm sure the contractor will probably have 60 days to, or maybe even 90 days to do the work. So it's going to be well after the start of the school year in this building.
Okay. Anything else we brought before Cap?
Another question, where are we on the roundabout on 22 in front of Ponchatoula High? Are we nowheres?
That's been on hold as far as I know for the time being.
Actually, I had a conversation briefly with President Miller, and they actually are moving that one forward. Yeah, they were asking us about our entrance to Vineyard, and it is off at Dunson, and it's not connected to 22 or the roundabout, and we should be fine. So it sounds like they're starting discussion on it. I don't have a timeline, Ms. Simmons.
That's because I tackled him and
Okay,
brought it
and-
back up.
But to be clear on that, the school system has done its part as far as that roundabout project is concerned.
Correct.
So anything else that's going to happen with that roundabout is either the parish or the State Department of Transportation.
That's correct.
But we did our part actually last year, so we're not the holdup.
2 years ago.
Okay, all right, yeah.
We do have the sewer line issues moving too. That will come when they start construction.
Anything else? If nothing else, meeting adjourned.